Destiny 2, a game I was just introduced to about 6 to 8 months ago, and I've had a term thrown at me a couple of times that new Destiny players have probably heard. New light. Now, obviously, a new light applies to someone who has just picked up the game, uh, and there are other terms that you might have heard called a blueberry, if you only have blue gear, or a term that I like to call fresh light. You are in between the stage and you're not exactly a blueberry, but you're also not a new light. You're just kind of learning the game still. So after you learn the game and you've earned your new light status, you start to do things like raids, nightfalls, and a little thing I like to call lost sectors. Lost sectors are probably my favorite aspect of the game, my favorite things to do other than, raiding with friends, which is obviously one of the greatest things that Destiny brings. So I decided, why not make Lost Sectors the new light experience? So obviously this video is not for the Destiny veterans. It's not for the guys that can complete Lost Sectors in 2 minutes and 41 seconds, I think I've seen on Twitter or X, whatever you call it. This is a video for the guys that get through it in 1450 and want to just try and clear it in like 1132. I'm just giving tips as a new light to the new lights, or to the fresh lights, to the blueberries who want to get good at this game to play with their friends in the final shape. So I'm just kind of offering my experience and how I've gotten through these things. Now, obviously, I'm kind of assuming that you understand the basics of armor crafting, that you're using the right mods, because I don't want to go over a specific class. I'm a Titan main. I do this. You just see a poorly dressed buff dude run at you with a hammer, or with a shield, or with a electric fist, or blades made out of string. I mean, that's what I do. I don't think when I play this game. I just punch things or throw a hammer at it. So please learn the basics of armor crafting. I may do a video on that if you don't know. So obviously have your things that your class requires, such as for Titans, we typically use like melee kickstart, creating orbs from melee, all that fun stuff. So, as a new light, you've obviously been told by people that you play with that understand the game, because no one picks up this game unless their friends tell them to nowadays. No one. We're in the final days, and that's even been extended because of Bungie. So, they tell you, oh, go run Lost Sectors, go get exotic gear. It's the best way to get exotic gear, and it has designated days. So, you look up what day it is, and it's chest day, and you need Curious of the Fallen Star. So you go run it. And it's so easy. You tear through it with your class. You're throwing grenades like a warlock, or you're throwing knives like a hunter, or you're bonking things with your Titan bonk hammer. And the loot sucks at the end. It's stuff that you already have. So you go back to your friends and you're like, hey, I didn't get anything from this. And they're like, what do you mean you didn't get anything? Did you do it on Legendary? You have to clear it on Legendary to get the exotic, and you only have a 5% drop chance, and you have to defeat all the champions, and you have to get a platinum rating, and you have to try it multiple times until you get to correct chest. But don't worry, you will get different armor every time that you do it until you have all the armor of that, and then the chance lowers, but you could get rerolls where you can have better stats, and it just flies straight over your head. So you came here looking for help. Now, obviously, I'm not going to give you a specific class, like I said. So, please look up the hundreds of videos on class building for your class, for your favorite type that you use. But also take in mind that we're going to go over the first thing about Lost Sectors, the attributes. There are different modifiers or attributes on every Lost Sector, and a couple that you'll always see are, they're going to throw tons of grenades. There's going to be damage output modifiers, and there's going to be damage resistances. There's also going to be a weapon modifier to help you, which plays a little less into it, but if you can run that weapon, it really helps. So you've created the class and you found out, oh, I need to put on this armor damage resistance, and then you see the champion types. There will always be 2 champion types within your Lost Sector. You have your barriers, your unstoppables, and your overloads. Now, these are all stunned by a multitude of things, and there's a handy dandy PDF out there that floats around. If I find it, I'll put it up on the video screen right now. But you have your effects that you can apply. You have weapons that are strong against specific types, such as Arbalest and Barrier Champions. And then you also have your artifact mods. I will just give you a heads up on these mods. It's super weird and complex, and the intricacies are something that even, a top tier gaming studio can't understand, apparently. So you have to watch which mods that you put on, such as if you have unstoppable hand cannon on Sunshot and you're trying to proc ignitions, it won't work because you have the unstoppable perk, and because hand cannons are made to stop unstoppables, now you can't stun, I think, overloads with ignitions, and it's really weird. And it applies to like the radiant effect where you can't stun barrier champs, and I run into that tons of times in my streams and videos that you'll probably see on screen right now. So just be aware that your artifact mods really impact how things, and if something's not working like it should be, check your artifact mods. So you've been banging your head against a wall in this Lost Sector for about 30 minutes, and it's getting hard. But every single time you understand it a little better. That's the process. You have to learn where these spawns are. You have to learn what trigger spawns for champions. You have to trigger different enemy spawns. You have to figure out where the boss is and your best approach. And I'm going to say it, Destiny 2 is an absolute power trip of how you play this game. You can run around feeling like an absolute god, just taking care of everything. You feel like you're in your prime on Rust, and you're going 34-1, and you're trying to get that Moab, but you just never can because you're the worst in your group. A little personal, but you need to cheese it. You have to find the spots where you can just camp and you can take pot shots at the boss. And once you got the boss done, then you can take care of the champions. So, the last thing is play smart. Play smart. Cheese it. Do what you got to win. Because when you get those exotics and it opens up the door to where you can play any event with your friends, that's when Destiny 2 gets really fun. So, why are Lost Sectors my favorite? Because it opens the door to the entire game with your friends. If you made it this far into the video, I just want to say big thank you, big shout out to anyone that made it here. Big shout out to anyone that hits those like buttons, hits the subscribe buttons. I just want to make this something fun and actually reach out to people and get them to enjoy Destiny 2 a little bit. I've enjoyed the game. I think it's fun if you have a group of like 4 to 6 friends, or 3, because every event is made for 3 people. Just pick up the game and get as much done as you can. I think there's going to be a big event here coming up with the final shape. So I just want to keep cranking these out. I think I can do one every week. Give me some encouragement. And hopefully I'll see you next week with a new different kind of event.